Hey guys, J&D Moto here. This is another weekly race on Gran Turismo. Let's just see if we can get this thing started here. So, that's me in the Toyota AE86, a GR4. This week's race is a Dragon Tail Gardens in reverse. So, I'm not normally a fan of tracks in reverse, but this one's pretty cool. That's me there, qualified in 7th with a 39, low 39, so not excellent, but it's early in the week and I'm sure my qualifying will get down a lot more than that yet. Cool, here we go. We're off to the start. Turn one always a bit tricky, especially with sort of glare and everything going on this one. But I get off. I go straight down the inside of this guy because he's a little wide on the apex, and I get through there. No worries at all. There's a little nudge, but I think he's sort of just turning in and didn't really see me. I definitely left him enough room on the outside. But it's super hard with the single screen and stuff to see if there's people alongside you, so I'm not too upset about that, and hopefully he's not either. Stick with the in-car view here, guys. That's how I drive. But also, there's some good racing in this, so from time to time I'll change views, but I'll stay with the in-car for the first lap or so at least. Picked up that guy on turn 1, which always helps, so I'm up into 6th. And these guys in front of me are battling pretty hard, so I'm confident that I'm going to get one or two of them soon. Yeah, you can see there the Ferrari got nudged off the track a little and loses a little ground. And everybody's dive bombing everybody here, so they're losing a bit of ground. There's one guy there, just got hung out to dry. So we're up the inside of him, that's excellent. That's 2 places on the first lap. It's a bit unusual for me, because normally on cold tyres I sort of fade back and typically lose kind of a place on the first lap. But anyway, I'm cautious into here, always. Partly because it's first lap, and partly because I want a good exit onto this sweeper before the straight. I know I've got a good chance of slipstreaming these guys, so I'm working on exit speed here. Unfortunately, I sort of get held up a little bit mid-corner, so I lose all my speed advantage there anyway, but never mind. Again, super tricky to judge your braking marker here with the shadows. But I know the Ferrari's gone in to defend, and so I'm following him through, and we both hang this guy out to dry, which is cool. Another place, excellent. Nothing dirty about that, although I think I probably did rub him a little, but man, I mean, I don't think there's anything in that. Like I say, I don't like to rub people, but you know, there's a full car length on the inside there, and he's already out wide, so that's all cool. And now we settle into race pace a little bit more. Everybody's tyres are starting to come alive. I'm hanging a tyre over the inside of most of those curbs there, and this one especially, just to try and get the car to hang on a little bit. You can hear that I'm like, it's understeering pretty hard there, and all I'm doing is using up tyres, so that's not great. Something to work on for sure. But oh, he's giving me a nudge. I don't know what went on there. He's definitely giving me a nudge, so yeah, it is what it is. No big drama. He gets back past me there. And I'll just slot in behind him. I'm a bit devoted about that. But there's a little tap on the way in. Everybody does it, you know. Nothing too much there, so I just try and stick with it. It's a long race, this one, 12 laps. So I've got plenty of time to get him back, and in actual fact, you know, I'm better off not contesting too hard. Oh, there you go, he's starting to run wide, so we're going to get him straight back anyway. Long straights here, but the 86 that I'm driving, the Toyota 86, isn't that fast in a straight line, I don't think. It doesn't really get off the turn with that much torque, so it's not super fast in a straight line. I really need to use the slipstream while I can. Okay, we're 3 laps onto our 3rd lap here, and actually, in fact, I think the guy in the Ferrari's probably got just as much pace as me. Look at the understeer I'm having there. Like, that's terrible driving. When you got that much lock on and that much tyre squeal going, all you're doing is chewing front tyres, so it's not great. I'm actually going to probably adjust the sensitivity a tiny bit. Because I mean, I was driving a GR2 car right before this, and I always have the sensitivity, and what I mean by that is my amount of wheel rotation. I have it set to a fairly small rotation in the GR2 car, just so that I'm not doing a lot of steering wheel movements, and the car responds really well. But with this GR4, I'm running closer to 42 on my steering wheel, which is 420 degrees. Still a little bit sensitive by the looks of it, so that's not too bad. It's just pushing the front tyres really hard. I'm running Fanatec CSL Elite. It's more than good enough for the console guys, that's for sure. I can see that the guy in the Ferrari's running a bit wider there to get a better exit, which is definitely the way to go. I'm just not quite getting it right there. I'm not really pushing it right out to the edge there. Keeping a little bit of a buffer, I guess a safety buffer. Tyre's feeling a bit better now. I'm trying to get the front to turn. Typically, I mean, it's not always the tyre's fault. If the car's not turning, usually it's because you're going too fast. Frying the tyres a little bit there too, but that's alright. This tyre's not really heavy on, this track's not really heavy on rear tyres, so I'm not fussed about the rear tyre life. It's mainly just the front left. But another thing with this track is, I mean, it's all about exit speed onto the longer straights. So like I say, I'm sacrificing a little bit there so that I can get hard on the gas right here, and stay hard on the gas all the way down through here. I actually lift off just a touch there to get it to turn, so I'm not scrubbing the tyres so hard, and now I'm floored. I'm floored all the way through here, pulling 5th gear. I don't actually pull top gear on this track. 5th gear is getting to the shift lights about now, but I just hold it. Oh, and he's run a little bit wide, so hello, Mr. Ferrari. That's spurred me on a little bit. Still, super long race, so I know there's plenty of time to catch him, and I know my tyres will be okay at the end, so I'm just hanging in there for those last couple of laps to try and pull him back. This series of long lefts is actually a little bit tricky to get right, and that definitely wasn't it. So the first turn, obviously you can go through the first turn fast and hang out wide, and you can go through the second turn kind of wide as kind of quick as well, but it's set up for the final turn a little bit, so you kind of got to wash off a little bit of speed there, otherwise, yeah, you won't be tight enough for the last part of it. Anyway. We're getting him slowly. Like I say, I started off in 7th place, so already up to 4th. It's a good thing for me. I'm A-rated, which is, not great or anything like that, just giving you an idea of where I am. I think the guy who qualified in pole was high 37 in this race, so we aren't the top guys by any stretch of the imagination. This race was a mixture of A and B-rated guys. But I've got a good run on him there, so slipstream, here we come. Actually, still not close enough to have a dive on him, and he knows it, so he's blocking the inside. But I do make a move here. I know he's blocking the inside, so I'm going to try and go underneath him in the middle of the corner. And yeah, we're getting it done. So he was blocking the inside and braking late, and so he ran a bit deep. Was a bit late getting on the gas, so we got past him cleanly there, but he's definitely trying to have a go back at me. Nah. He's missed the apex back there too, and we've put a bit of a gap between ourselves. That's a bit of a better exit for that one, but still using up a lot of tyre. It's funny because Gran Turismo is a little bit like that, so some of the guys running the controllers as opposed to the steering wheels will notice that it can be worthwhile just laying a lot too much steering angle into it and letting it understeer. I mean, it's not a good way to drive, and it's hard on your tyres. And if the races were longer or pit stops were more necessary, you'd see that tactic's not as effective. You know, basically, if you're full lock and everything's squealing, it may get you through the corner quickly, but it's not good for like tyre life, or even, you know, it's not good driving. I'd much rather try and keep that tyre squeal to a minimum and keep the steering input closer to what's actually happening. I mean, there, see that? Like, I've got a lot of lock on there for what is a 4th gear fast corner. If you were to do that in reality, I mean, you're just never going to do that. But this car handles pretty well. It can be a bit tricky. Let's get a different view, because there's not really going to be much happening now until the end of the race. I do actually start to flick through the views. That's annoying. I do actually start to gain on this guy. He's got about 4 seconds. At one point, I think he's got about 5 seconds on me. And I think I drag it back to about 2 seconds before the end. But we just run out of laps. And actually, I think probably the last couple of laps, he's probably been a bit cautious. And just like, you know, he knows he's leading, so he doesn't want to make any mistakes, and he backs off the pace a little bit. But yeah, that corner there. So I've tried hanging out wider for longer, and squaring off, and then trying to exit a bit harder on the gas, but it doesn't seem to help me any. So obviously in qualifying there, the go is to use all of the ripple strips there and just hope you don't get a track limit penalty, which is all well and good in qualifying, because if you do get the track limit penalty, you can just have another lap at it. But I absolutely hate getting penalties in race. I mean, it's about who can drive the fastest without crashing and without getting penalties. So I'm not real interested in how fast you are if you're exceeding track limits everywhere, or if you're hitting guys everywhere. So my main focus is to try and keep clean, consistent races. Yeah, I'm missing the apex there pretty good, but anyway. It's always good to watch replays for that reason, because I mean, you're doing whatever you have to do in car to get the lap done, but I mean, you can learn a lot from the replay. So I cut across here, and then I'm fading out, and then I'm trying to, yeah, I'm happy to miss that one, but I want this apex, so that's not too bad. And that Ferrari guy hasn't managed to stick with me. It's too wide there. I'm just missing where I want to be there too, so I really want to hang a wheel over these curbs like that. This is a wide track with pretty forgiving curbs, so you want to try and use as much curb as you can, for sure. The GR4s don't have a lot of horsepower, that's for sure, so you definitely want to go a little slower. You want to be late on the brakes, but you want to be a little bit slower in the entry and a little bit, just try and use all the power you can on the exit. This is a long section, and you want to get a good run through it. So I'm flat out here, flat, just holding it flat. Pull 5th gear about now, and then hold 5th gear all the way up. I've tried shifting to 6th, that doesn't help me. So I just hold 5th all the way. In actual fact, it doesn't quite bounce the rev limiter anyway. It's the over rev on this car is pretty big. It's much better. Much better. And I am slowly starting to catch the guy in first place now, which is good. But there won't, I'm not going to catch him by seconds a lap or anything like that. I think I did run the fastest lap in this race, which was similar to my qualifying, a mid-39, which is pretty normal for me. So my one lap qualifying just isn't that great, and to be honest, I don't spend that many laps in qualifying. I did about half an hour of qualifying yesterday, which was the first I tried of this track. And now I'm just running with that qualifying time for the time being. So yeah, my qualifying time is a 39.2, I think. 39.2, something like that. And my race pace is low 40s. And my fastest lap just then was a mid 39. So, you know, I'm shooting. Realistically, my tyres are pretty good. So I've got, I can run mid 40s, no worries. Low 40s, no worries. That's 1 minute 40. I think I ran my fastest lap on lap 6 or lap 7. Could have actually been when I passed the Ferrari, to be honest, because that little bit of slipstream definitely helps you. But then I managed to run consistent mid 140s for the whole rest of the race, all the way through. Even last lap, lap 12 is still a mid 140. So that's about my race pace at the moment, in 140. So definitely, you know, definitely a second or so off. I think a quick qualifying time around here is probably a 37 flat, something like that. And I think I've got 38 in me, no worries, but that's not unusual for me. I'm normally a second and a half off the top guys for qualifying, and my race pace is usually a little bit better. So over the course of the week, I'll definitely get my race pace down into the 39s, which is normally good enough. Or, I mean, it's as good as I've got, so what can you do? But typically, the guys who qualify really, really fast, they're a good second and a half slower than that in actual race pace. So I'm competitive, but I mean, only working on it. I've only had the game sort of since January, and I spent a lot of that time just doing the campaign to try and get some cash up and get my driver's licenses and all of that sort of stuff before I realised that online racing was a thing. So I've been doing it for a couple of months now, and it's awesome. I'm loving it. Probably still a little ways off getting my A+ rating. I've heard there's a sort of a point system. I don't know about that. I don't know what my points are, but I can check my progress, and yeah, I'm a bit over. I'm about 3/4 of the way through my A rating, so we'll see how that goes. I was A rated, and then I dropped all the way back down to C when I had a couple of frustrating races, and I did a few rage quits. And some unsportsmanly sort of stuff, and I quickly realised that that wasn't really going to work. So got my A rating back, got all of my sportsmanship rating back, and I'm sort of really concentrating now on having good clean races and being in good fields. Actually, you know, you guys would know Gran Turismo can be really frustrating at the start. There's a lot of people hitting a lot of people, and a lot of penalties going around that you know no one can understand, and strange penalties and getting rammed off the track and stuff. But I've worked my way up to the point now where we've got good fields. Nobody's really hitting anybody recklessly. There's a few taps here and there, but nothing reckless, and so it's all about being fast and clean. We're getting close to the end now, I'm sure, because I'm getting close to this guy in first, and I think, like say, 2 seconds-ish is about as close to him as I get. That's where I want to be there. That's where I want to be there. So I'm hitting my marks and making sure I get my title last happily to the end. I'm hitting my marks there. That's where I want to be. I feel like this is probably the last lap. And I'm trying to push, because I'm hoping that he will drop off in tyre life. It doesn't seem to be happening, but I'm hoping he will. So I'm still trying to push. It's right where I want to be there. That's exactly how I want to exit that corner. This one's a bit tricky because it dips away there and you get understeer. That's why I like to hang a tyre over the inside of the curb. Same there, tyre over the inside of the curb just so that the car hangs on a little bit. You can see, like I take that, took that really tight there, which is, a bit tighter than what I would normally go, but it's just, I really need to be a second or so closer so I can start to hang in this guy's slipstream, but it's just not going to happen unless he makes some monumental mistake. Jump the curb a little there, get it in, jump the curb a little there, get on the gas now, jump that curb there. Well, use it, don't jump it, but I'm about half a car width wide there, but it's no biggie. And that's it. Checkered flag. Race done. Second place. So there you go, guys. I qualified 7th, finished 2nd, and got the fastest lap. So it's a good race for me, and we'll keep working on it this week, and I'll keep you posted. Any other races that I get that I think are worthwhile, I'll post up for you. Sorry the last sort of few laps of that was boring, but I thought I'd hold out to the end anyway. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. J&D Moto.